that we have some details of what the framework would be, joining us on the broadcast is Dr. Jayen Mehta, Managing Director of Amul, to help us understand what this deal with the United States really means for the dairy sector, for the country. Dr. Jayen Mehta, thank you for joining us on the broadcast. What is your first takeaway from this India-US deal? Much awaited, one of the biggest trading partners of India. Now, the deal is sealed. We also have details coming in as well. What are your first thoughts on the historic deal?
First of all, on behalf of all the 36 lakh farmers of Gujarat and all the milk producers of the country, we would like to thank Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Minister of Commerce and Industries, Shri Piyush Goyal ji, for a fantastic and, as you rightly mentioned, a very historic trade deal. The approach of the government to look after the interest of the farmers, of the dairy farmers, has actually come true in this FTA. And that's why we would like to really thank them for supporting the farmers, taking up a very, very firm stand, and clearly keeping dairy out of this itself shows the commitment for their commitment for the nation, for our farmers. And India, as the largest producer of milk in the world, will certainly benefit on this in the coming decades.
Okay, all right. There were a lot of concerns, particularly in the agricultural sector. In fact, it has also been highlighted by some in the opposition as well. But you're saying, looking at the details, there is no reason to worry at all, because dairy products in particular was one of the bigger worries in the India-US deal. The red line that had been mentioned by India as well while the talks were going on as well, isn't it?
Absolutely true. And in fact, dairy and otherwise in agriculture in general also has been very, very strongly protected. So I don't think there is any reason to worry on any of the points which have been mentioned for these two particular sectors. And more importantly, it's a matter to cheer for, because overall the import duties have come down and Indian products will also get a good access to the global markets, particularly the US markets, which is one of our biggest trading partners.
Okay. The US President Donald Trump has also spoken about what this deal could mean for the farming community in the United States as well. And he has said that this deal opens up one of the largest markets in the world for the US farmers. Now, one part of it, even when the deal is being discussed, is also, of course, the domestic politics, the domestic sentiment that each leader has to cater to as well. But what would you say to that, the fact that Donald Trump has also spoken about what this could mean for the farmers in the United States?
See, we can only talk about what's good for us. And I can tell you this is the best ever thing which can happen for us. Our country has stood up to what 1.45 billion Indians want. Yes. Larger part of our population is based on agriculture. And the leadership has very firmly said that they are supporting the farmers of the country and actually put it in the deal accordingly. So I think it's a good reason for all of us as in India to cheer for this deal. All the good things that will happen to us, for our country, our farmers, is what we should look forward to.
Okay, so, the tariffs being reduced to 18%, I'm sure a lot of Indian Americans are also watching. So does this mean that we're going to see a lot more Amul products in the US shelves?
Yes, of course, we are not just exporting our dairy products from India. We also in tie-up with a local cooperative there, and we are selling Amul Gold milk in the US mainstream market as well as the Indian stores there. So we are covered both sides. We are a local player as much as an export-oriented brand as far as the US is concerned. US historically has been charging a very high tariff. So it's not that things will become much cheaper. They were tariff of say 17% on dahi to about 40-50% on butter, cheese, ghee, and so on. So, but overall that 50% thing was actually a dampener as far as the trade relationship was concerned. Now that has been brought down to 18, which is a very good sign. And we would definitely get a very strong advantage as compared to other exporters also. And that would mean a good growth in business opportunity for all the Indian dairy and agricultural based products players in the market.
Okay. Just for an understanding of how things were for the last few weeks or perhaps some months as well, when the talks were ongoing, because there was not just reciprocal tariff, but there was also additional tariff that had been imposed on India. You mentioned 50%. What was the impact that it was having then, because of which, the 18% is a big deal? Now, there may be, I'm not even talking about the politics of it, but there have been some who have been saying that we could have negotiated better. There's a lot of politics around it. But when the United States had imposed a tariff of 50%, how had it affected India's agriculture, India's dairy?
Amul as a brand, of course, has a preference among the customers there. Ghee, our 100% vegetarian cheese, our ice creams, the variety butter and the variety paneer and variety of products that we export. As a brand, we would definitely, even if the premium increases, would not get affected. So per se, we were not much affected. We had a very good Diwali and a Christmas New Year season also last year in the middle of all the tariff wars. But the fact is that if consumers want the same product at an affordable price, these tariff negotiations did help. And eventually we came back to 18. So it's a very good step in the right direction. But more importantly, we are not bothered too much about the price which the American customers will pay for Amul products. It's the benefit our producers will get by the strong and firm stand taken by our government in blocking their dairy and agriculture imports into our country. So that is actually a more welcome step, because India, apart from being the largest producer of milk in the world, is also the largest market for milk and dairy products in the world. So Atmanirbharta is very crucial in this sector. Livelihood of 8 to 10 crore families dependent on milk is very important for us. And Honorable Prime Minister did articulate this. He put it in his thoughts into action, which are reflected in the negotiation which Honorable Minister of Commerce and Industries Piyush Goyal ji just announced. So all in all, it has turned out to be very good for us, both as exporters as much as being self-sufficient and supporting the farmer category and the community in the country.
Okay. All right. There were a lot of concerns also on the non-vegetarian dairy, as many had called it. There were a lot of concerns, keeping in mind the India sentiments as well. So you're saying that all of it has been taken care of in the India-US deal?
Absolutely. I mean, this part of their feeding bone meal to their cattle has been there prior to even the trade negotiations. So our country had been very clear. It had been notified at the bilateral levels, at the WTO levels, and obviously anything which hurts the sentiments of our people, we would not consider it welcome in our country. So obviously that has been taken care of, and also supporting the core dairy product category has been taken care of in the trade negotiations.
Okay, there are some concerns that the press release or the initial information that was available on the India-US deal has been very vague. Is that a matter of concern for the industry?
Not really. We knew the fine print will come out. It was now the joint statement announced yesterday makes things very, very clear. We will be also, since we export there, we'll be also looking at the Chapter 100, which they specially created for all the new tariffs, which keeps getting updated every other day. So we are also closely monitoring it. But then again, for those who are exporting, that's a very welcome thing. Imports is one thing which we in the agricultural community need not be worried of. So that's also been sorted out. And not only US, you look at the EU deal, you look at the New Zealand deal,
yes.
All deals, the country has been very, very supportive of the farm sector and the agriculture sector.
Okay.
So that is where we salute the government and the efforts and their focus on protecting the livelihood in our country.
So the government had been in touch with the industry, all the stakeholders, even as the talks were going on?
I think, yes, our Commerce Ministry has this very good approach of stakeholder consultation. And I'm not just talking of dairy and agriculture. Every single sector view are being heard personally by the Honorable Minister, the entire team, and repeatedly. It's not just one-off for the sake of the meeting, they call a meeting. So they are very much concerned about the need of the industry, the voice of the farmers, what our country needs. They have a very clear focus on what India needs is going in the next 10, 20, 30 years. So I think all of this government approach and stakeholder consultation is helping them negotiate deals, very, very good deals in the best interest of our country.
Okay, all right. I also want to ask you about non-tariff barriers that could be done away with completely. What do you make of that? What is your view on it?
Per se, I mean, we don't suffer from major non-tariff barriers as far as exports to US is concerned. EU-US is another chapter, which we can talk later. But by and large, we're pretty okay as a country to see that, we continue to grow and focus on our domestic industry. After all, in the next 10 years, India has to produce 1/3 of the total milk of the world. We have this opportunity to become a dairy to the world. So we'll need to gradually, and with the government is working on opening up markets in a few of the countries where the non-tariff barriers do exist. But as far as this deal is concerned, we have supported Indian consumers by not allowing milk which has been fed on bone meal into our country, and more importantly, not giving tariff concessions on dairy products, which that government wanted so badly, and supported our farmers in a very big way.
Okay. Do you think that this deal is more favorable to India?
Of course. I mean, we've said that, and Amul Topical says that today. It's a pact with a punch, and we did give a taste of India, not just to US, but to the world. And that's what we all as a country are proud of.
Okay, so, a lot of hopes riding on this new deal and what it brings, isn't it?
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. But at least it's good time to cheer for our nation, for our farmers, and thank the government for their firm stand on this subject.
Is there any concerns at all, any matters of concern, a few things that you think the government should have taken up or should take up even as the course of the negotiation or the talks still continue?
I think this part of the thing has been done, and I don't think there's any major reason to worry for us as the dairy sector. But I'm sure the government will, if anything comes out of the finer of the fine prints, we will obviously share our concerns with the government, and they're very proactive and positive about that.
Okay, so Dr. Mehta, your closing thoughts, as you look at the deal, as the people are also looking at having Amul go out to the world, and we've all had the Amul products have a very good name across the country, and it is now going to have a better market, a bigger market in the United States as well. Your closing thoughts after the deal has now been sealed, as you're looking at some of the other details that have come in as well?
No, in a single line, I can sum it up. It's a great deal, a very historic deal, good for the dairy sector, good for the farmers of the country and the entire agriculture sector. Will boost milk production in our country. B, it will give a greater market access, and overall benefit the well-being of the farmers of our country.
Okay, all right. Dr. Jayen Mehta, thank you for joining us on the broadcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, with that, it's time for us to slip into a very short break here. We'll be right back. Do stay with us.